Yeah. So I'm just going to demo a few things today. This is kind of what we've been working on for the iOS. It's kind of like a reskin, like doing some other app navigation, adding some stuff like a home screen, and just kind of get some native components in the app. So what I'm showing you right now is like first version of the new home screen, which is powered off of things you've read. So here you can kind of see, you've read Claude Monet, so here are 3 recommendations. There's a button to see more like this. You keep scrolling, you see things like what's nearby your location. You can see more nearby your location. And then down here, it's another section of powered off of things. Actually, this is from saved pages. So if you've saved something, this is where we're getting that information from. So that's just the home screen, kind of just that thing where we're trying to make it like a destination, give people something to explore when they first get into the app. From there, we have a couple other things. I'll show you save pages and search first. We're still playing with the layout on these, so you excuse that, but there's a kind of a native layout now. And if I go into a save page, we're actually doing a lot of native rendering here now, so I can do scroll down through here, and all of this text, it loads. Obviously you can't see because it's a simulator, but I should say it loads much faster than it did before coming into the web view. Then down below, we have a table of contents. So it's kind of like you can get this is not a good article because it has actually a big summary, but for things that kind of have a small summary, you kind of just go through the summary real quick, and then you can kind of see what's actually in the article, and then tap in the article. And then this is actually the web view. We are still using the web view if you want to read the main article, but we've pulled a lot of the more visual and top level content out into the native side. There's also here, if I tap on the lead image, it's kind of the same thing as before. You can see, you can go and pan through the images. There's also recent pages, which is very similar right now. We also do have scrolling built into the top, so you can actually scroll through without actually launching our gallery view. So that's kind of in there. And if I can click these. So yeah, so basically it's a little bit different navigation scheme, mostly just to focus on native stuff, trying to get fast is kind of the big thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know, any questions or anything you want to see?
We're still working on a lot of the styling, so we'll have to ignore some. There are obviously lots of small things that have to be fixed, but that's all kind of a work in progress this week and next.
Yeah. Corey, you could also show link preview.
I actually can't in this build.
Wow, that's okay.
I was getting something kind of wrapped up for the demo, and I had to break that. But yeah, so yeah, we do actually have the link preview working in this too. But by working, I also mean not working. But it works sometimes. So yeah, that's it.
Well, I was just going to say the little nearby compass when it's not in the simulator, that works as well. You're just not seeing it here.
Mm-hmm. So Corey, am I correct in assuming this takes into account our treatment of feeds?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the home screen is basically the feed. So we've kind of built this flexible screen now where we can just throw in different sections of content. We only have 3 sections in here right now, but we could throw in as many sections as we want, powered in different ways. The only thing we can really do right now without kind of services support is we can look at nearby, which is, we've been doing that before, and we can look at the user's reading history and save pages. And so that's kind of how we're powering this at first. But yeah, it would be really nice to get a purpose-built API for this, to where we can say, hey, give me the most popular article was on Wikipedia right now, or give me the most edited one. So yeah, all that's possible. And this is just kind of the framework to get that started.
Yeah, so that's great. I think two comments on that. We've started talking to research about these kind of sort of trending article types of services, getting those sort of in line for Q2. So we're right, and like exactly how those articles would be selected is, well, it's up to research, right? That's what they're supposed to work on. But both Discovery and us are eager to start leveraging those type of things. The second thing is tying this into notifications and sort of having the ability for the app to tell you things that you think that to essentially, yeah, tell you things that we think would be interesting for you to pull you in is also something I'd love to, when you guys get this down, I'd love to see integrated because I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think that's what's great about the home screen too, because it can just be a place for all those types of like relevant pieces of information that we want to send to the user, and and then we can start experimenting with like A/B testing, like, hey, maybe we want today at the top, and maybe your notification second. Maybe we should power things off. Your reading should be third in the list, and so we can kind of play with the order of those things and keep tweaking it. And we can even do it per user too. So there's a lot of fun stuff that can kind of come out of that.
What happens when you click on one of these cards? It takes me to an article view.
Yeah, we don't really have the transition stuff set up perfectly right now, but I just kind of I clicked on one, and so here's like the article.
And is this the full article?
So this is actually like a native representation of the article. It's not the full article. So you can see here that you see the first section. And so we've pulled out the first section and cleaned it up a little bit, just so you can get a quick read of it. This is basically also the same thing that we're using to power the pop-up previews, but we're just also using it here as well. And if I keep scrolling down, then you're like asking about the full article, and I see the table of contents. So now if I click on collection, this actually is like the full article. So now I'm in the full article in the web view, and I can go through all of this. I don't believe I can hear you. I think you're muted.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So yeah. So no, I mean overall, I love this. Like I love the feeds idea, but I think burying the full article within an additional click, and then taking the person when the person gets to the full article into this another view of the article, it's kind of very confusing. And so yeah, so it's like it's kind of something that I've been talking to Katie and Vibha about it too. And I would like us to find a better solution to that problem.
Yeah, like we've been working on that. That's kind of like the big solve for this. So I mean, what you're seeing is like and this isn't even a finished transition of how that would happen. But this is just kind of like a quick demo. But yeah, we're well aware of like trying to mesh the native article and web content together into one thing is a problem we have to solve. And so yeah, we're definitely working on that.
We should probably move on so we can get to the other demos, but thank you, Corey.
Yep.
Thanks for the questions.
Okay, I think what we have next is the API sandbox from infrastructure. Who's going to present on that?
That's me.
So just a moment.
Somebody let me know when it's all set.
I don't think we can hear you, or
Can't hear
if
us?
you're speaking.
Can someone type in?
Are we ready? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So something that I've been working on in some of my spare time lately has been rewriting API Sandbox to support some of the newer API modules like Flow, and to use UGIS UI for rendering instead of its weird homegrown thing that it was using before. So this is my patch. It also requires that you replace UGIS UI with a version that has one of my patches that hasn't been merged yet. We got a button that makes it like full screen in the browser window. You can select stuff just like the old one. No, I don't have Flow installed here, so I can't show that off. Oh well. But We can do block. Something that was always annoying in the old one was for the token parameter, you had to go to a separate browser window to find the token. Now you can just click on a button and it'll load it up for you. We can do query. We can do stuff like category members, all pages, and they all show up separately as little tabs along the side here. I had to write that widget to have the little capsule control. That was kind of fun. And one other thing that I wanted to show off. Where was it though? Protect. No, is that not going to work either? Can't remember which module it was that I needed to look at now. Maybe it was undelete. That one will probably work if I can not screw up. The mouse on the Ujis UI thing is kind of weird. So I even made a calendar control that unfortunately some of the Ujis UI people in editing don't like for some reason. But, oops, I clicked in the wrong place. So, and then of course, go back to query. Examples. Nah, no good example there. We'll just all pages. You can click on the examples and can load up the data, make request, and there we go. So that's about all I have to show off. Hopefully that worked.
It was needed. Hey, Brad.
Hey, so Brad, and this is great. When, I mean, do you, so block, it's, merging it is blocked on OOJS people accepting your date picker, or?
Yeah, or else providing one that has the features that I need instead of the one that only has like a third of the features that I need.
Or could you have a local Aegis control just for this? Because I mean, clearly it's a lot better, and as you know, the current one doesn't let you do things like specify the format version and things like that. So obviously, it'd be great to ship this.
Volker, any?
So there was me having some comments on the date picker, and we were saying we have to go and look together at it again. There was no time on my side actually. That was the thing. I can't really tell the recent status from.
Okay.
But there was some, from her position, there were some things that need to be done before shipping that.
Okay. I mean, can we make that happen? Because while this is actually pretty widely used by people developing against our APIs.
Sure.
APIs are important.
So Brad, I have to ask, how does it work on mobile? Because one of the serious problems with the existing one is it doesn't at all. And the fact
I haven't tested it on mobile, but I haven't done anything particularly fancy custom. So if Ujis UI works on mobile, then it should.
Let's try it.
Cool. Okay.
Yay.
Yeah. Thanks, Brad.
Cool. So I think, John, you'll be doing the Wikipedia.
Sure.
I'm going to make you presenter a second. Okay. And I guess we can use the room's audio.
Okay, ready?
We're still pushing. Yeah.
Okay, so this should be a pretty quick demo, but it's actually an interactive demo, so I need some people to play with me. So I posted a URL in the Hangout. I guess not everyone's on the Hangout, so I should probably put it on ISC as well. Okay, so I've been playing with push notifications, which came into Chrome recently. One thing I hear quite often is we can't do that on web, so we're going to do it on apps. And actually, the web is actually it's doing pretty good. Like, there's a lot of interesting features on there that we could exploit, and this is one of them. So yeah, if like a few people want to just like opt into this would be great. Like, just click the button, it says enable. You have to use Chrome at the moment to use this because they're the only browser that shipped it so far.
Should we have somebody else share their screen so that...
Here's a kit. I'm just going to show you kits and why you do that. So. Yeah, anyway, so hopefully a few of you have done that right now. So the beauty of this is like we can set up, so once someone subscribes to those push notifications, we can send them information at any point. It's actually as simple as just like posting to a URL. And as you'll see, I just got the photo of the day, which if I click, takes me to the photo of the day, which is apparently June odd-eyed cat crocs. Brilliant. Another cat. So yeah, it's pretty powerful. I picked two simple examples so far, which are just today's featured article, picture of the day.
Can you just resize this to a mobile-sized browser so we can see what it looks like?
On a mobile, it just looks like that. But this works on desktop and mobile, so I don't want to give the impression it's just a mobile feature.
The notifications are
thanks to Joaquin for making this accent. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think it's pretty powerful. It's a way we can actually pull people into our experience outside Google that we have control over. A few glitches work. I just got another notification for some reason. I think I subscribed to it twice.
Wait, so it works on which browsers?
Right now Chrome, but Mozilla are building it into Firefox. I forget which release. But by making use of it, like it puts more pressure on browser vendors. Like, I mean, if you use this on Chrome and people are enjoying using this feature on Wikipedia Chrome, that's pretty good reason for, like, say, Microsoft to say we need to do this right now, like, because we're losing people to this feature and similar features.
Is this do you have to be logged in to get a notification?
No. No, it's fine.
Chrome has to be open. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
So, am I correct in saying that when I'm on Chrome and I have Calendar, like Google Calendar on, and when my next meeting is coming up, Google sent, like Chrome told me a notification? Is that the same thing?
So it's like when I did that post URL on the command line, you can just imagine that's like a robot which does that at say like 8 a.m. every morning. If I don't log on my phone till like say midday, I'll get it then. Okay. If I'm on at 8 a.m., it'll just appear. We're talking a lot about driving traffic like to our sites, and this is something that we should explore. And I think I'm sure there's much more interesting ideas other than featured article. I mean, one thing I'd love to see is like trending article. If like an article starts getting edited like a fixed amount of times, I'd like a push notification just then, like saying.
To get a notification, do I have to be in the browser with Wikipedia open?
No, no Wikipedia, it can be anywhere.
Okay.
You could have completely forgotten you subscribed to this feature. So you could have one which, I don't know, like it's really irregular, but like.
Interesting, okay.
It also seems like it would be really useful for editors as well. I mean, people who like watch lists. And
yeah.
What is it, the Echo? Is that what we have that notifies people? Yeah.
So there's UX problems to solve. Like, so say like, I mean, technically you could use this for a watch this like feature, but a user's going to get annoyed if they're getting thousands of push notifications.
So you have to subscribe to get that notification.
Yeah, so basically you subscribe somewhere like what happens behind the scenes is you give me like some special token that identifies you, and now using that token I can communicate to you at any time I want, and obviously you can disable anytime you want. I'm being too pushy.
I think this is a really good like piece of work, but we do need to work on like a notification has to be something that feels like it was worth drawing your attention away from something.
Totally.
And right now you don't even have to be logged in, and these feel like things that could apply to everyone. So like, I think like we need to build this feature, but like what exactly we do with it will evolve and really get better over time.
So if you look at if this and that, there's actually like a few people have done similar things. I can't remember if I can find it easily.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about that. In the port, and the capital thing has if this then that things that'll like hook it up to tweeting you the picture of the day, tweeting your edits. So yeah, I don't know, but I guess the thing that this adds is actually having as a browser notification rather than hooking up to tweets and.
Yeah, I mean, this can be as personal as you want, or as as I just said, these are two like simple examples that I picked up. You can have as many as you want. I could subscribe to like 200 types of notification I wanted to.
So this is notification that you're using, right?
It's the push notifications. So
like no, I mean the method is not notification. It's a web notification.
What are the exact technologies involved?
it's like the open web. It's in the spec. So like any browser vendor can implement
Sure,
this.
sure. I'm just asking which one that I understand it correctly.
Which one? It's called web push. If you Google web push, you'll find it, or push notifications on the open web.
Okay.
So it's just APIs for pushing to people and make notifications.
I think I agree that this could be as personal, but when it starts to get personal, we'll run into questions of permissions around location. How do we decide what's trending and what's pinging you about logged in versus logged out? And I think those are sort of their points of tension, but they also make this feature extremely useful. So just something to think about.
Cool. Okay. So does anybody else have any demos or experiments, side projects that they want to showcase?
I could talk about something I've been working on.
Okay.
We have a minute.
Yeah. Just to let me turn the presenter on.
Oh, Joaquin has something as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, Dimitri, are you willing to yield your time to Joaquin?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, just a second, Joaquin.
Okay, can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, we can see it and hear you.
Okay. So basically, I've been trying to experiment on how to get modern JavaScript into MediaWiki extensions. Right now, we don't have any way of using libraries from the huge ecosystem of JavaScript, or we don't have a way of bundling modules and specifying dependencies between files. We do that manually on every extension, so you can see here the modules. This file is really long, and here you have all the templates we're using. We have the scripts with the styles and all that, and that's manually specified, and it's really brittle. So that leads to code that has to be wrapped on a closure, and we're using globals everywhere. Mobile frontend has a specific way of loading modules, which is pretty brittle. So I've been working on integrating Webpack into the Gather extension, just as a test, so that we could write ES6 code. As you can see here, this is ES 2015 code, the new JavaScript, which just came out this year. It has modules. You don't have to use closures for wrapping stuff. You use file paths on the system to get things from other files. You can use LED. There's a bunch of improvements. So the thing is, we can do this because we can precompile the assets and just ship the compiled assets with backwards compatible JavaScript. And the good thing that comes out of it is also that we get to remove a lot of code from this huge file, and we auto-generate the resource loader entries. So this is an auto-generated entry. So you don't have to manually specify neither the messages or the dependencies or all that. It just, when it parses the code, it just generates the extension.json. And it's really nice because when you commit, you can see that I got to remove a bunch of extension.json code, and I just added here the new entry, and this is the auto-generated entry. So that just gets updated automatically, which is a lot more awesome than manually. And it also gets us access to the NPM ecosystem that has thousands of JavaScript libraries. It's really nice. And using ES6, we can also use front-end tooling from Node.js. So I'm using here the Mustache compiler from the JavaScript version. No need for PHP versions of Less or Mustache or all that. So I don't know. I think this would open a world of possibilities if it's actually feasible. There's more things to do. Right now I have JavaScript, messages, templates, and CSS. There may be some other things to figure out, and I'm working with Gather on a fork, trying to find all the problems that could come. And I would like to propose this to the broader MediaWiki community and see if it could have any repercussion for the rest of the extensions. That's it.
Okay. Cool. Dimitri, do you want to do your demo?
If there's a little bit of time left, why not?
I think we have kind of a light second half agenda, so I think we can afford to buy into some of that time, if that's all right with people.
Thanks, folks. Great work. I have to leave.
See you, Toby.
See you, Toby.
Okay, Dimitri.
Okay. You guys hear me?
Yep.
I was going to just briefly mention automatic Wikidata descriptions. For anyone who doesn't know about this, there's a tool originally written by Magnus Manska that takes a Wikidata item and generates a human-readable description based on the actual data statements in the item. And hold on. There have been some lively debates over email about the merits and the drawbacks of auto-generated descriptions. I personally believe that they're pretty much the future, and that we should encourage a lot more development effort into these kinds of tools. I know that there'll always be articles for which automatic descriptions wouldn't be sufficient, but I don't know, I still want to get people excited about the prospect of these kinds of tools. So to that end, over the last few weeks, I've sort of picked up where Magnus left off. I've made a fork of the tool in GitHub, and the first thing I did was a whole lot of cleanup and refactoring to make the code much more ready for others to contribute to it. And I've made it into a Node.js service. Technically, it was already a Node service, but I made it have sort of a similar structure to what our content service uses. So maybe eventually it'll be easier to integrate this with the rest of our content service. So you could just type whatever subject you want into the URL, subject or queue number. It automatically differentiates between the two, and you'll get a description out of it. And I've started making a few improvements to the actual output of this. It's kind of hard to quantify the kinds of improvements I've made so far. And I'm not going to take requests from the audience right now because I'm not a masochist. But there are certain types of articles that really lend themselves well to being auto-described, like species of animals or people and places. Like if we take, say, Barack Obama. Okay, so there's a description for Obama, American politician, lawyer, professor. He's got the birth year, 44th president, and that's something I've added, which is it automatically detects the series ordinal number of the qualifier for this statement. Stuff like that, little things to make improvements all around. And one other thing that I just want to stress with all this stuff let me see what I have here. Yeah, I had one item prepared, which is the greatest band of all time. Right? The answer is Supertramp, of course. So the description for this is just band. And what I want to stress here is that when you see a description like this, your first instinct should not be to edit the description to make it better. Our first instinct should be to edit the Wikidata item and add the correct statements to make this description correct. So we can go to Wikidata. There's Supertramp. And we see it's got instance of band, but let's say we want to add what kind of band it is, or the genre, and we'll call it progressive rock. Okay, so the description suddenly becomes progressive rock band. That's all you need to do. Anyway, that's kind of all I had.
Nice.
Yeah. One thing I want to end with, actually, another thing I had was description for love. Love is battlefield.
That is a really good description.
Battlefield is like instant stuff.
So I mean, I think this is just really central, and it's funny because does Magnus know you have a fork and are working on it? Because there are definitely people using his version already.
Yeah. This is with his full blessing.
And then would it be hard to add it to add it to the mobile service so that when you ask for, there would be like an auto description thing that gets loaded, built, and cached and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I think, well, so we have to think about like how we can deploy this for real, because I think Magnus's original tool is sitting on Tool Labs right now, so we can start with maybe replacing it with what I currently have, or having them just coexist alongside each other, or we can go the route of just adding this to our existing content service that we're actively developing anyway.
Works for me.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Dimitri. We should probably move on unless there's any really serious burning questions. John Katz, do you have one?
I would just say the discussion that Dimitri alluded to on the mailing list has been, for me at least, really productive, and I would encourage anyone who's interested in this to read through that thread.
Yeah.
Some things were clarified, some things that I didn't quite understand, people were able to kind of clarify as well, so I thought that was a really good discussion.
Cool. All right. Have we given up on a quick surveys demo? Is that off the table?
No.
So you're muted.
I think we can skip it. We should probably move on to the next segment of the meeting.
Okay, so that concludes the showcase. Thank you, Dimitri, Joaquin, Brad, Corey, and John. That was great. Okay. So if you are not staying on for the reading staff meeting portion of the hour, you can feel free to exit. We will not be offended. Bye, Elena. Bye, Moise. Cool. So let us check out the agenda for the staff meeting, which is in the calendar invite. A little ways down in the description.
Yeah, go ahead. Exactly.
Oh, sorry. Kristen, I'm trying to load that calendar thing right now, but what is the last half here that we're talking about?
Yeah, so previously, we like reserved a whole hour for a showcase, but now we're kind of trying to split it 30 minutes, 30 minutes. Like first half, more showcase, experiments, that kind of stuff. Second half, more focused on like general things in the department.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You in, Monty? Yes, you are.
Am I? I don't know. Should I be?
You are on the Etherpad for the staff meeting agenda.
Okay. Okay. I'll
And
stay.
your color is red, so you're going to be really obnoxious if you add anything.
Oh, I'll add lots of stuff.
So add any late-breaking agenda items if you haven't had a chance to. We should probably get started working down what we have so far. So nothing in infrastructure, nothing in design as of yet. So in product land, John Katz, you have added a few announcements for this meeting.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm on. We're not on mute. Awesome. So we have a new PM starting on Monday, next Monday. He'll be jumping right into. I think we have 2 strategy full day sessions. So starting Wednesday, he'll be around the office. Say hi to him. We'll be taking him around though. I think all the details of his hiring have been shared with the team, but one thing I don't think we've shared it broadly is that he will be PMing the iOS team. So that's something to look forward. And it's not going to be for a little while. I think we're going to make sure he gets oriented for quite some time before we bring him into that role specifically. Any questions there?
So you just said, when is his first day?
Monday. And then, there's going to be strategy meetings next week, Monday and Tuesday. So tech pros and team leads, I think, are going to be in those meetings. So just to be aware that folks are not going to be responsive on Monday and Tuesday. Kristen, do we have any more to add on kind of making sure the business is not disrupted?
I think a heads up is a good first start, but just make sure when you're in those day-long meetings to just cover stuff you need to cover at your discretion.
Cool. And the only other thing I wanted to bring up today, just because we have some time, is the original goal of having this meeting, or one of them, was to have more cross-functional discussion across the apps and web team to make sure that everybody kind of knew what they were working on. And to some extent, I think that's covered in other meetings, but wanted to check in on whether or not a quarterly progress update would be helpful if the tech pros were to kind of say, hey, here's where we are, here were our goals for the quarter, and here's where we are on them, just so folks got a sense of how each team was doing. So don't want to put anyone on the spot, but awesome, Kristen likes it. But maybe we can plan for that for next time. Okay.
Yeah, it might be a little too much pressure for this meeting, but I think it's a good idea going forward if people are game. And we'll give a good nudge reminder ahead of time so you guys can get stuff ready for reporting on quarterly progress.
How does that differ from just like the demos we're giving on the things that we're working on?
So a demo is like, hey, here's this new feature I worked on, or here's where we are on a particular feature, but the update would be like, here are the top level kind of themes that are going on for us this quarter. And
Okay, so are things locked down for 31st August and 1st September? Is that plan, is it, I saw some emails which suggested that we might be moving those things around.
I think we're pretty locked in on those dates in order to make it so people can.
Okay, so should we okay, so I guess we should go ahead and decline any meetings on those 2 days. Okay.
That's all I had.
Cool. Any questions for John on any of that stuff? Okay. On the heels of that announcement, everyone should have this on their calendars and have seen announcements in email about it, but Q2 planning starts in earnest this week. So on Wednesday, there is a app Q2 meeting and a web Q2 planning meeting. And then a follow-up meeting next week to converge together to talk about where we got to in that first meeting and the time between the two meetings. So that's all I really wanted to say about that. It's just a heads up if for some reason you've been out or away or not aware that that is happening.
On that note around the Q2 planning, there's a brainstorm Etherpad, so ping somebody if you don't have it, but feel free to add your thoughts on that.
And a note about the Brainstorm Etherpad, since we put a lot of investment into brainstorming last quarter, we're looking for new ideas that haven't been covered in last quarter's brainstorm. Because we want to build on what we captured last quarter. Cool. And similarly, there just a note on the strategy meetings that are upcoming. So the first really big one since we've had our kickoff. I know you've all been reading Playing to Win every night since we had the kickoff. But we have a meeting coming up this week on Thursday. And I'm actually proposing a bit of an agenda change for that. So it was originally slated to be a review of our current strategy. And Toby got into that during our kickoff meeting. So what I want to propose to do is repurpose that time to actually do like a TLDR version of the strategy process as we're going into some day-long meetings next week, so people can understand actually what kind of steps we're going to take to formulate the process a little bit better. Both the people involved who will be at those meetings and our stakeholders who are watching the process or interested in being involved in the process. So that is my proposed plan right now. So I'll add an agenda to the meeting invite to outline that, but that's what you can expect in terms of strategy for this week. Any questions? Thumbs up.
I wanted to remark that, like if anybody has feedback that they'd like to share in a written form, please do visit the kickoff page for the strategy process and add it there. If you don't want to be writing it down, maybe talk with the tech pros in your area or your manager, just to make sure that your feedback is communicated. We really want this process to be as inclusive as possible, and that means that we're reaching out to a lot of mailing lists and a few places like Meta to get feedback, and the voice of employees is also important. That's all I have.
All right. Any questions on any of that or other general announcements that anyone wants to share with your fellow staff? All right, that was 9 seconds of silence. It's the rule of thumb. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Kristen.
Until later.